Well, you did it. You made it to the end of the ethics of eating. We made it to the end of the ethics of eating, and let me tell you, it was close at times. We had no idea what was involved in turning a 14-week on-campus course into a 6-week digital one, and we did it by the skin of our teeth sometimes. You can't see them, but the crew behind the cameras is also very glad to put the cap on this, I can tell. I want to thank them here for all of the work that they've given to the course this term. It's been a lot. We began this late last fall, just as the polar vortex started to descend upon our part of the world. Through January and February, we'd stumble in from the cold, pull off our winter coats and caps, pour some coffee, and then start filming. Looking back, we're a little chagrined at how HD all of this is. We don't have makeup and hair people on our staff, as you could tell, so we're pretty sure you noticed the various hat heads and scruffy beards and ratty sweaters and chapped lips and nasal congestion and so forth. Now, as it all comes to an end, the summer weather's back, crops and gardens are being planted, students are taking exams, we're getting at least a little color back in our faces. Today is actually what they call slope day here on campus. It's the last day of classes, and students take to Cornell's huge sloping hill and celebrate various endings and beginnings for them in their own bacchanalian way. Of course, like the commencement that those students will have later this month, this end for us also marks a kind of beginning. From here, we all will have to go out and commence to purchase and to cook, to eat and to share, and still to wonder. If you're around my age and you eat around 3 meals a day and live for, God willing, another 40, 50 years, then you've got, if it's 50 years, a lot of choices left. 54,750 to be precise. Let's say 55,000 to include the snacks. That's a lot of food, a lot of choices. I'm pretty lucky to have a lot of choices and a lot of food, as much as I want, really. Maybe you're lucky too, not everyone does. But with choice, as we know, comes responsibility. So what, then, should we eat? I suspect that at this point here at the end of the course, some of you might be a little angry. Not, we hope, about the course itself, but about our collective situation. Maybe you didn't have a clear sense beforehand of how the current global industrial food system really works, of its amazing ability to feed the entire world if only we could distribute food properly, but also of the ways in which it can be rough on animals and workers, a burden on underprivileged communities and health systems, damaging in various ways to the environment. I suspect that some of you also feel some despair. Not, we hope, about your scores on the quizzes and assessments, but about your ability to make a difference, to eat virtuously, to really contribute something to animal welfare, food justice. We've brought up all sorts of questions about easy answers that people take. The Ithaca response, for instance, the kind of intuitive sense that a lot of people have when they confront the ills of the system, that if they just think global and eat local and buy happy meat and join a CSA and go organic, they'll really be doing something good, virtuous. We've raised some tricky empirical and ethical questions about that kind of response to the situation too, and we've tried to persuade you that even if some of this does seem better than sticking with the status quo, the standard American diet around here, for instance, it too is not without its own problems, questions, inefficiencies, injustices, externalities. And so that's why the despair might set in. Either you participate in the industrial food system, which seems ethically problematic, as we've seen, or you try to opt out, but all of those ways of opting out also seem to have problems. So here at the end, which is also, of course, a beginning, we're not going to pretend to offer easy answers. We're still thinking through a lot of this ourselves. It's complicated. At present, I am shopping and cooking vegan, but I'm also a bit of an opportunist. I'll eat dairy and eggs when I'm out, and even some seafood if someone offers it to me and I don't purchase it myself. I'd probably eat meat that I found if I thought it was safe. I don't tend to worry that much about whether the food I eat is organic. I do tend to prefer local, but I worry about my reasons for that. It tastes good. It wins me favor with local farmers maybe, but is it tribalistic? Is it worse in some ways for the environment? Does it represent in some way my privileged status as someone with enough means and education to be food secure and buy these more expensive products? The funny thing about the ethics of eating in particular is that, unlike other philosophical topics, you can't really walk away from it. No matter how angry we are or how complacent, no matter how much despair we feel or how much hope, as long as we're alive, we'll be eating pretty much every day. And not to choose what you're eating in an intentional way is itself to make a choice. You'll probably just end up eating what people around you are eating. And that'll probably be the product of the industrial food system. So here at the end, we return to the beginning. What should we eat? What is the right thing to buy, to cook, to share? We didn't answer this for you. We really couldn't, but we hope we've given you some of the tools and information required to think hard about it yourselves and come to some tentative conclusions. That's often what philosophy is. Like Socrates, you try to live an examined life. You don't pretend to know things when you don't or act like you're certain when you're not. Consider a series of arguments and considerations and facts and reasons and try to bring yourself to some tentative but defeasible conclusions.